Hey everybody, ¿qué pasó? Welcome back to Armando's house. There's a lot going on in Armando's house and we talk about it all. Today we're going to talk about this article that I saw today. Actually, it's making world news. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis talking about how Australia is not as free as communist China. And I thought it was really interesting. I find it interesting that the governor of Florida is talking about Australia. It's pretty interesting. And I think there is some self-motivation in comparing maybe Australia to Florida. If you look at what's happening in Florida right now, I'm just looking at the numbers. Florida's got 3.5 million cases of COVID, 54,000 deaths across a population of roughly 21 million. Australia has a population of about 26 million people. There have been 1,200 COVID deaths in the last 18 months. So who has done a better job of controlling COVID? Clearly, Australia has done a better job of controlling COVID, but that's actually not the question that was posed. Who's done a better job of controlling COVID? Clearly, Australia's done a better job there. It is about freedom. And what Governor Ron DeSantis is raising is the fact that Australia is not a free country. And as someone that lives in Australia, I have to agree with him at this point. It's funny, the article citing communist China, we actually have a friend that is Chinese, has been living here for years, and she has decided to move back to China because she couldn't put up with the lack of freedom that she's had here, the lack of mobility, the lack of seeing people, and the challenge that has faced, and has decided that there's more freedom for her in China than there is in Australia. So I think, although I don't agree with, that I don't like, obviously, the number of deaths that Florida has had, 54,000 deaths compared to 1,200, that's a lot of lives lost. However, that's not the topic. We're talking about freedom and, where would you rather live? And I think that's the question that we have as a family every day. And frankly, the longer these lockdowns go on here in Australia, the more that we kind of question, and we question that balance. Would we rather live in a little bubble that's safe, or would we rather live free? And just how much are we willing to give up each day? Because it's very clear that as lockdowns go on further here in Australia, we're giving more and more control to the government. And yes, we're safe, but at what cost, right? Safe and not free. Would you rather be safe and not free, or would you rather be completely free and potentially not safe? I mean, if we're going to play the game of safety, then perhaps we should stop people from driving cars or getting on airplanes, or walking down the street, because things can happen. So that's a bit exaggerated, perhaps, but you extend these lockdowns long enough, and you have to, you impede on people's freedom, right? And at the end of the day, we want to be free. We want to make choices for ourselves. And we want the government to protect us, but there is a price to pay. And I think what Ron DeSantis is saying here is that Australia has gone pretty far in the direction of infringing civil liberties, and there's a price to that. But let me know what you think. I'd be curious what you think about this topic. I know there's been a lot of chatter about the comparisons over the last 24 hours, but we'd love to hear what you think about the topic, how you guys talk about it at home. And, are you more on the freedom? I'd rather live in a world where it's completely free and let me take the risk, or would I rather be in a place where, the government steps in and takes a lot more control and puts a lot more boundaries to protect the greater population, but those freedoms are restricted? We question that every day. So let me know what you think, though. Be curious how people are treating this. Thanks, everybody.